Carlene.
Hello, Alma.
Hi, Albert.
Hello, wifey.
Hello, Albert.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, Miss Carlene.
What was I watching? And they were, it was Goldberg's. And Barry and all his friends were doing doctor, 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 every time they left. Albert, are you going to drink wine?
Possibly after I get through drinking my beer first.
Okay, we warned you guys last week that my hubby might be joining us, and he is.
Albert's here. Which one's yours?
I haven't drank out of
Okay, well, I'm
either
gonna...
one.
You're not recording it, right?
Here.
I am
Oh,
recording.
yeah? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we do a little
Well,
pre-record.
I just want to say hello to everybody out there in Podlandia. That is the
Portlandia.
make-believe land where people sit around all day drinking wine and beer and listening to podcasts. It's a beautiful place. You actually should visit it sometime.
That's what we do?
That's what we do. Every other week.
No, all day long, every day. It's a dream life.
So how you been?
Good. You know, when you asked me how my week was, totally forgot about, I think I told you this, but I'm not sure. I was working on preparing for a client, and I was doing a little meditation, and in the middle of it, out of nowhere, I get the clearest vision of my mom. And then I knew, like, it wasn't like, oh, look at my mom. It was, something's not right. Like, I'm going to get a call saying something's not right. And the next morning, I got woken up from my sister saying that my mom was rushed to the hospital. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you did tell me.
Anyway, so she was rushed to the hospital. I guess she was having chest pains. And my mom, she has a history of strokes, but heart problems and stuff too. So anyway, so of course we get worried, and nobody can go with her. And so that's even worse.
Yeah, that's the worst part of this whole thing is that you can't, if your daughter was having a baby, you couldn't be in there with her. Like, I have a friend that her daughter's about to have a baby, and she's like freaking out.
Oh, that's so sad. That's when you wish you just had home birth. I think I would change it and be like, I'm having a home birth. Because I don't even feel like my mom going to the hospital. I was weirded out. Yeah, I didn't feel safe either way. Anyway, so she's fine. And then that afternoon, I got a call from my in-laws who needed me to go pick up a prescription. And I was like, no problem. And I get to their house, and my mother-in-law never called to tell me that she was having more medical issues than what I already knew of. Mm-hmm. And I get there, she's got this giant bandage on her head. And I'm like, what is happening? You know?
What the heck?
They said she saw a doctor, and they said she had shingles. And so I went and got her prescription, dropped it off, and then a week later or whatever, she's calling for me to get another prescription. And she's like, these doctors are constantly misdiagnosing her and her husband. So I don't know who her lame-ass doctor is, but I keep telling her she needs to switch. Anyway, she did not have shingles. She just had, it's folliculitis or something like that. I hope she doesn't care.
Folliculitis, I think is how they say it, something like that.
Yeah. Basically, it's like an ingrown hair that gets like...
painful.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing as a boil, you know, an ingrown hair, and turns into a boil and gets infected. But anyway, it's, thank God. But it can be very serious because hers needed so much care. And if it gets into her eyes, or if any of the pus inside leaks, it can cause an infection. Right. Yeah. It can spread.
Is it on her forehead?
Yeah. It's on her like her hairline and her head. Yeah, it's very sad. But, you know, they're 90 years old, so anything can be, like, what probably wouldn't be dangerous to us. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, that's
glad to hear that she's doing
Mama's okay.
Both moms are okay. It's just crazy time to be getting sick.
There's all kinds of people.
I can't stand looking at that.
Oh, okay, we should open it.
It looks so good.
We should open it. I forgot about
She's like,
it.
you know how much temptation I
Yeah.
have.
So yummy.
All right, so I have these cinnamon swirl loaf cakes sitting here in front of us, and they are tempting us. And there's napkins underneath, so if you guys want to grab some napkins.
They are. It's a
No, that's
game.
them. That's them.
That's them.
It's them?
Hey,
They saw me open the door and they just went, they went crazy.
Those are our four-legged children, as you can tell by the sounds.
Oh my God. I think our whole audience knows about our four-legged children and the whole journey of puppyhood.
The shit fest and
like everything. They've gone through it with us.
Yeah. Smells like shit. Oh, Shorty just farted. No?
No.
Okay.
No. Somebody just freaking
Oh, what were you going to say? Patreon.
Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. ADD and all. But I was gonna say, have you watched this thing about the Golden State Killer? It's based on Michelle McNamara's book, I'll Be Gone in the Night.
That's the Netflix one.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. Is it Netflix? It's almost kind of like a biography, a little bit, because it kind of goes through her whole process. There's like a lot of footage of like her investigating the Golden State Killer.
The kids told me to watch it.
It's on HBO.
I saw it.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right.
HBO.
It is on HBO.
And it's on Sunday nights, and it's like
it's
this
a
Sunday will be
series?
the third episode. Yeah, I think it's
I did not see it.
It's a short series. It's on HBO if you guys want to watch it. But anyways, I started watching it. It's really good. Hook, line, and sinker. Did I tell you? I think I did. Or
what?
Maybe I didn't.
About this?
Mm-hmm.
You and the kids, I think, told me, because I thought I started watching it.
Also, that's one of the ones that I wanted to cover for a while, but it's a big story. It's one of these, like what we're doing today. We'd probably have to take the whole podcast to do it.
Yeah, I will.
So,
I will.
Segueing into the Golden State Killer, let's discuss the original American serial killer.
He's like, let's get to it. He's like, let's get to it, because I've been watching this shit all week.
Listen, the shit messes with you too.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So
this guy was really something.
So Carlene is gonna take on the true crime part of it. It's H.H. Holmes, and I'm going to give you what I've pieced together for there's a paranormal piece to it. So
but you
all
guys can
H.H.
jump
Holmes.
in.
Yeah, it's all H.H. Holmes for this whole episode. So
and we're gonna share.
We are gonna share.
Because you guys have watched so much about it that you know. So don't be shy.
I made Albert watch Ghost
And I am going to
Adventures
provide
with
the
me.
play-by-play.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat that whole thing with cinnamon.
Yeah, do it. It's good. That's what I bought it for. That's what I bought it for. It's delicious and we're hungry. Anyways.
I'm going to have to take a big gulp of wine because it's all stuck in my throat. Cheers.
Cheers.
Did you tell them what wine?
Okay, so we started out with cupcake wine that she brought, but actually bought Casillero Del Diablo. I'm gonna let Albert read the label there. It's 2019 Malbec.
Yes, it is Casillero Del Diablo.
He can read better than
Malbec
me.
from Chile.
Chile.
Concha y Toro. Would you like my?
Wait, I gotta ask you a question. For a long time, my whole life, I've had one Hispanic friend or another. Back in the day, it was my friend Eunice, and her mom and dad only spoke Spanish, very little English. And so I would go in, and all I would hear is, ay, Gary, loco, gringa, right? And so I'd be like, what are they saying? All I hear is my name. So I would imitate them by doing my fake Spanish.
Right.
So her mom would always say, you need to learn Spanish.
Right.
And so I'd say, I learned Spanish. Right? So I'm doing this one. See, you laugh. I've never had anybody be insulted. Did it one night with my kids, and my kids are like, oh my God, Mom, that is so prejudiced. I'm like, what are you Okay, I raised you guys. I'm the last person who would ever be prejudiced against anybody, but okay. And so I'm like, I have been doing that my whole life because I don't know Spanish and I really want to.
Right.
And I think I'd be really good at it because I think I can get the accent.
Trust me, it's not an insult in any way because there's a lot of Mexican Americans that are in the same boat. Trust me.
Yeah.
Look, I understand Spanish and I can speak Spanish to my family, but I try not to speak Spanish to other people because my Spanish is very broken. Like,
She's like,
I think that's
typically she throws me in and says, babe, go talk to them.
Right.
Hey, that's how my friend, she would talk to her parents, and I would make fun of her for that. I'd be like, she'd say, "Vieron yesterday the store." Like, it was the whole thing was. And then I had my friends who were straight from the border, and we would teach them English. They would cook for us, and then they would teach us
Mexican
Spanish. They were right
bad
from
words?
Huh?
They would teach you the bad words, and you teach them the bad words.
Pretty much. Well,
Pretty much.
they caught on to what we were doing, and so they were like, "Go over to Polo," and they'd say, "Tell
Polo
him
or pollo?
Polo was his name.
Oh,
Polo was and he was
Okay.
very cute. So, and they would say, "Tell him," and I don't know if I say this right. ¿Quieres dormir conmigo esta noche?
¿Quieres dormir conmigo?
Will you sleep with me tonight?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'd go up to him, and then all of them would be like, "Hey, mira que estás haciendo," and then they'd be chasing me all around.
Okay, you have to see her actual bodily expressions. Like, she's just like pulling her.
Thrusting.
Yeah,
Thrusting right
good
now.
one. That's what they would do. Hey, mira que estás haciendo, yeah. And then they chased me around. And so we were like, okay, go up to that lady and tell her your shoes look like shit. So they'd go up and go, "Your shoes look like shit." And everybody would laugh. Anyway.
It happens quite a bit. Trust me. I've seen other instances of that happening as well with people where places that I've worked where there's a larger Hispanic, immigrant population, and so of course there's a little bit of that.
Mexican American, period.
Yeah.
Like we're.
So there's a little bit of that translation issue and some stuff. So it tends to be the case that most of the time, if you're trying to teach each other something, they're going to always teach each other the bad words first.
Yeah, they did. I did learn. Donde vamos a comer? Is that it?
Yeah, where are we going to go eat?
Yeah. So I would learn to say that first, and then the other part.
Well, there's like in different parts of like South America and Mexico,
The way
like
they say it.
different words mean different things. Like panocha is like the sweet candy thing, but if you go in Mexico, it's
further north.
In Mexico, panocha sounds dirty. But if you go south, it's just this. It's piloncillo. Isn't it piloncillo?
Piloncillo.
Yeah. I don't know to explain it.
I learned
It's
what
a really
puta is from Spirit. So I was doing a
Really?
reading, and I'm like, so he's standing with like his arms folded, and he's like wearing this tank. He's like checking me out, like, yeah, I want some of that. And then he just called me a puta.
Do I know who you did that
remember.
reading for?
Who was
I
it?
think you do.
Yeah, the person you work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. That's so crazy. I totally forgot that you worked with them.
Angie and
Oh yes, that's right.
it was
There
her brother.
their brother.
Yes. That's how I learned what that word
And I remember
was.
her telling me too. I was like laughing so
Yeah,
hard.
it was
I
hilarious.
was like, yeah, that
I
would
was
be
like,
Carlene.
huh. So I just learned Spanish from Spirit.
And a not so great word.
Yeah. Hey, he said it in an endearing way. He didn't say it like he's like, "You puta, I'm gonna kick your ass."
I don't know that puta.
It was more like, "Hey, I want to get with this puta."
Yeah. It was like, yeah.
That still sounds gross.
It was a flattering puta.
Was it really?
Well, from Spirit to me. It's our thing.
There's no way that would ever be a compliment.
Anyway, all right.
He sounds
Like a gentleman, doesn't he?
Yeah. No,
super
I'm gonna be
sweet.
nice because I know these people.
Anyway, just thought I'd
Anyways.
ask you guys that because my kids definitely had me feeling like shit.
No.
And I
Don't
knew.
feel bad.
So, are we ready?
let's
do
get started.
it. All right, guys. We are doing
Wee.
as a collaboration.
Wee.
Oh, we actually have a wee in the room.
Wee.
Carlene always has to go wee wee, but now we have a wee wee.
Monsieur.
Oh my God.
Okay, the wine's kicking in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm drinking this shit fast.
It's a... Oh, well, we haven't got to that one.
No,
that one's 13
but
point,
that one's breathing.
13.9.
Oh, damn. Good thing
So,
there's three of us.
Carlene may need a little help.
I might need a ride home. I might need somebody halfway through to read the rest of this.
All right.
Good thing I'm eating that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Baby. Albert, oh, my hernia popped out.
So Albert gets to see what the hell we're laughing at. She snorted.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
She's like, all these years I've wanted to go in that room.
I know.
And now he's finally like,
Yeah. All right, you're
when
so
can we be
lucky,
done?
Albert. You're welcome. And then I'll have to take like 5 pee breaks too, or more.
I'm used to that. I see that all the time. I hear Carlene come out. Okay, I gotta go potty.
All out, she announces to the whole house.
Like, I'm the only other one out here, Carlene. You don't have to announce it. You know where it is.
Go and pee. Anyway, we're doing our story on... Wait, did he have a name? Like, was there a title for him? Do you remember?
Like Howard Mudgett or something like
Well,
that?
yeah, but he didn't have, like, the blank serial killer or... You know how, like, Jack the Ripper was Jack the Ripper?
Yeah, he had a few titles out there. Something of Chicago or The Devil of Chicago or something like that.
Oh.
There was a few, or the... Yeah, I'll look him up right now.
I mean, he definitely has a lot of aliases.
Yeah.
So that...
He was good at that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you that right now. He also gets around. We're talking about a serial killer named Herman. Well, wait.
Oh, Herman, not Howard. Sorry.
No, but Henry Howard Holmes is what he really went by. H.H. Holmes is what he
Orale Holmes.
Preferred to be known as.
That's what he mostly went by.
Right.
He was born Herman Webster Mudgett. I would change my name too. Herman.
Yeah, definitely. Every time I hear that name, I automatically think of the Munsters.
Somebody might
yes.
be listening with their name Mudgett. So we're sorry.
Yeah, Mudgett.
Sorry.
Yeah, because there's still Mudgetts alive. So.
Yeah.
So,
No offense to anybody out there named Herman.
Yeah, or Herman, yeah.
Herman Munster.
Herman, yeah. Munster.
Yeah.
I can't get into that show. The Monsters.
What?
Yeah, I used to like it.
It was one of my favorite shows to watch when I was growing up.
Yeah, I used to like it.
Right.
It's on now a lot. And
On TV Land, I think it is.
yeah, I can't watch it. Anyway, okay. He was born May 16th, 1861. He was born in New Hampshire. His parents, though, are English immigrants, which I think we were talking about that earlier. Okay, get this. His dad's name is Levi Horton Mudgett. When I heard Levi, didn't I do my last story on Levi?
Yeah, there was a
Or
Levi.
the story before, it was on Levi Boone.
Yeah, that's right.
So I heard Levi, I was like, ooh, another Levi. Anyway, okay. And his mom's name is Theodette. Theodette, which
First
is...
time I ever heard that name for a female.
Never ever heard that.
But what's crazy is I just thought of this. I think there's another Theodette in this story. I think he hooks up with somebody. Maybe. Or names a kid Theodette.
Oh.
But anyway, we'll get to it.
That would make sense.
There were 5 children. He's number 3. The Mudgetts had a very strict religious home, which is very interesting that they raised a demon child.
Basically.
Right? He had an older sister, an older brother, a younger brother, and a younger sister. His parents were really hard. It sounds like they were middle class, hardworking. It sounds like his father did some farming and kind of fell back on farming when he needed to make money for the family. But anyway, just to give you a little background. But I will tell you, his dad sounds like he was a little sadistic too. Mm-hmm. He was a dick, that's for sure. He was very abusive. And later on in the story, I'll talk about, we're going to call him Holmes because that's what he generally goes by. So Holmes, H.H. Holmes, wrote his own novel, a little book about his life. Basically.
In prison, right?
Yeah. And to give to the judge. Well, we'll go ahead and talk about it right now. He wrote a book to give to the judge while he was in prison before his death. And it's basically, because I saw the original of the book and I was reading some of it, and it's basically a poor me, an excuse for why I'm demented.
Right.
And he talks about how abusive his dad was. But then, so he went to... A lot of
people have had abusive fathers and don't turn into serial killers.
Exactly. But anyway, the school he went to, he caused a lot of trouble. He got into trouble a lot. And the principal, he ends up in the principal's office. It sounds like the principal was abusive too. Because there's a story about... putting him in front of a skeleton and like taunting him with the skeleton.
Okay, was it the principal or was it some kids?
No, it was the principal.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it was some kids picking on him because I did watch. See, that's the thing about people telling these stories. Because one of the YouTubes that I had watched, it was like he was being picked on, bullied.
He did get bullied by kids, but he also, and at that same point. So that could be where that came in.
I wonder if some of that's not related to from what he had gone through from being around his dad and whatnot, just kind of making him the way he was. It was causing some of these kids to see him as maybe weird or an outsider or whatever. And that's where all the bullying came from.
Right. I mean, he definitely was a target. And he probably was already weird because they already said that as an adolescent, he was already distributing... or showing signs of distributing. He
was selling marijuana? What?
Not distributing. Displaying signs.
Right.
My God, my wording.
He was torturing animals, right?
Give her some more wine, honey. He was displaying signs of a serial killer.
Psychopathy or whatever.
Yeah, because he was like killing animals and stuff. Yeah. So it's crazy. Okay, so he was killing animals and...
your typical psychopath.
Yeah. I mean, they do say that is one of the signs. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, when my kids have had like one or two friends that are, so-and-so killed an animal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
stay away from that friend.
You're not allowed to play with that person anymore, ever again.
That's terrifying.
That was one of the things I made sure to check on for my children first to make sure they showed empathy for children.
Make sure you love that doggy, animals. Right? You don't want to hurt the doggy. The doggy died of natural causes, right?
That's that's one of my criteria. If you
are a good person,
you're a good person.
Yes,
you are good to animals.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love having animals and dogs, is because they tend to have the ability to kind of read people. They can tell people's
they are very sensitive
demeanor and energy right off the bat. So if they tend to react weirdly to somebody, it's usually because there's
something wrong with
a weird vibe coming off of them.
Yep.
Pets and children.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I never made my kids hug people, because when you're teaching them don't talk to strangers, and then you're telling them to hug a stranger.
You don't want to hug, especially when they don't want to hug somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're telling them to
go against their own instincts.
Yeah, don't let people violate, touch your no square, blah blah blah, and then you're saying you have to hug that person.
Right.
But no. I didn't do that.
That's big in our culture. Is you're shamed if you don't hug your tios or your tias or whatever. Your parents are like, I can't believe you were that rude. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's kind of expected. It's expected.
But that's how we were raised.
Yeah, but I didn't do that to my kids.
Yeah, no. And my sister, my oldest, for the longest time was like, your kids don't love me. Well, because my oldest, he's very stand back and gotta observe. And when you come on really strong, he would back up. He didn't like that.
Yeah.
And so she was very strong. And her perfume was strong. Everything about her was very aggressive. And so he was like, mm-mm. And so I kept explaining to her that I'm not going to force my kid to hug you when I'm trying to teach him that he doesn't have to do that.
Especially in today's world. I mean, one of the biggest problems is with women, they don't know how to say no to.
Exactly.
They don't, it's impolite. We don't like to be impolite to people.
Well, and family members that are molesting.
Well, I mean, that tends to be that's the tendency for a lot of the cases that occurs because of people that have already gained the trust of these children, and then they use that and turn it around on them to then molest them.
Before you even started pouring.
I know.
It was already going. It was already making that sound.
And you know what? The reason that I chose this was because it had and you'll know as we tell the story, it has the whole like devil picture on there, but you'll know why I chose this after.
Yeah.
You'll see a picture of it on the Instagram.
Oh, this one is a little darker. Muy.
Well,
More?
I mean, Satan is the king of darkness.
Right?
It smells a little sweeter. Okay. I would say certain things about wine, and she would say, all I care about... Wait, what would you say? That it gets you drunk?
Does it get me drunk? How fast does it get me drunk?
How fast
be like,
will I get
What is
tipsy?
the percentage?
How fast can I get tipsy to tell the tale?
I would be like, oh, this one has a smoky flavor or whatever. And she'd be like, I just care if it gets me drunk.
Sometimes it just makes my feet swell and it doesn't really do anything for me. Or gives me a headache.
Yeah. Because some of these, depending on like what kind of, I don't know, what kind of grapes, can give you a migraine. Gives me a headache too.
Right. I think it's the sulfates too.
Oh, the sulfates. Yeah. That's what it is. Exactly. You're right.
That's what I'll say a lot.
You're so
whenever
smart.
I get the swollen feet, I'll be like, oh, that had a lot of sulfates.
That's sophisticated of you.
Well, my palate's not very sophisticated, but sometimes my vocabulary is.
She's always right, too. Just to let you know, Albert. You should probably already know that.
I think he knows.
I learned that decades ago.
Yeah.
I think it's a Gemini thing.
What, that you're always right?
I'm going to blame it on being a Gemini.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That I'm an asshole.
What? Multiple personalities?
Is it the planets are aligned, so can we all be assholes?
Yes. What? 5 planets are
Isn't that the case already? Look at everybody running around breathing on each other without masks.
Oh my God, though, are you watching on the news how some people, like, if people are, like, questioning why somebody isn't wearing a mask, and then, like, there's video of a lady hacking on a baby?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're a psychopath.
Yes.
If you do something like that, you're a psychopath.
Yeah, just
to me. Like you're a complete psychopath.
There's
videos
something
everywhere
wrong
of people just throwing tantrums like little kids.
Yes, there's
like
something wrong.
Sitting on the floor.
one old lady at Costco sat on the floor throwing a tantrum. There's another lady in a shoe store that picked up boxes of shoes and started throwing them at the salesperson.
Oh my God. People
It's
are
like,
ridiculous.
man, people just
You're
need to chill out.
ridiculous. Go home.
Life is
Go
too
home.
short to be behaving in that manner. There's definitely other things in your life that are wrong, and you're displaying it in that way at that time.
Yeah.
For that reason, because you don't want to deal with what's really going
on deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see a
That tends to be the
psychiatrist.
case with most people.
No, this is really showing some.
Oh, this is a good one. Good choice.
good.
Did you take a sip?
Yes, I did.
It's delicious.
She's like, I took several.
I'm on my second glass, honey.
My
She's like,
story's
I'm already
gonna
on
be
my
great.
third one. You need to catch up.
All right, let's
Okay.
reinterrupt you.
All right. So he was highly intelligent. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he is a very smart man. And what somebody had said was, it's unusual to see like a serial killer or somebody like that even graduate college,
Right.
and complete college, even high school,
Right.
And
Even though they could, because they're very like
they're so smart.
super
Yeah.
intelligent.
They're smart enough to do it. They just don't do it.
Yeah,
Right.
they're the way they think. It just doesn't fit in with normal society, basically.
Right.
So that's why they have trouble fitting in.
But he did. He went all the way. But around 18, because we were talking about he might have, you and I had said something about, he might have committed murders earlier than what's actually documented. Okay. That's like a signature. We do it every podcast. Join in, Albert. Do it, Albert.
It's wine tongue.
Yes.
We're speaking in wine tongues.
Tongue.
I'm like sucking the wine off my
I'll
tongue.
have beer tongue here shortly.
Oh, wow. Babe. Come on.
Sorry,
Carlene's
I meant to tell that to you later.
Oh,
after
should
we're off the
I
podcast.
leave?
She's like, wait, what's that?
Wait, huh? Should I go in the other room?
I think I'm blushing.
Earphones on? Earmuffs. Okay, so anyway, at age 18, did you guys watch the part about the cousin?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the History Channel special that.
Yes. And there was another something that they briefly skimmed over it, but the History Channel. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What do you think? That he had, let me see, Mary was his cousin, and she disappears. They find her floating in the river, a creek, the liver.
She's
Floating in her liver.
It's
She
just
must
the
have drank
liver.
a lot of wine, right?
Oh my gosh, this
I've had dreams
worse.
like that before where I'm floating in my liver.
Yeah,
I've been
I
floating
felt
in
plenty
the
of
liver.
those nights.
Carlene might be floating in her liver tonight. Okay. Anyway, so he's around 18 years old. I think 17 or 18 is fair to say. And his cousin Mary, she disappears. They find her in the creek or river, but nobody really knows how she got there. And the only person that was around her, supposedly, is Herman.
Right. That was mysterious. Mysterious death.
It was mysterious. Because she was submerged in the water. That was weird.
Right.
Oh, because there were no there were no marks on
Right.
her that anything weird happened to her. So there was no bruising, there was no stab, there was no gun, there was nothing other than she drowned. Somebody had to submerge her into the water.
Right.
It's not like she couldn't swim in this little... she had to be held down. A creek?
Right.
You can stand up in a creek.
Exactly.
So-
That's weird. That's just too weird.
Yeah. So anyway, they think that his murders started before.
And didn't they, like, on that special, what was it called? There's something about American Ripper or something
Yeah,
like that.
the American Ripper. That's it.
When they were looking through the archives of all the deaths, weird deaths that had happened in that area, there was another Mudgett. So they didn't find her. So they heard the stories anecdotally. There was another Mudgett around the same age, around the same time frame, that also drowned in the river.
What? I
Yeah.
didn't hear that one.
Yeah, I think it was like on the first episode or this. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah. So they found another young Mudgett, like family member, that also died. So
Maybe
there's
I need
these.
to get coffee. See why I need you? Like I said, it was
you
a
need
lot, and so there's a lot, and
Right.
I was like, couldn't keep up and
Well, and
write
I didn't see that
everything.
anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it was something
And-
that they found in their research while they were trying to do that. So
Okay, so the research we're talking about in this American Ripper series, it's on the History Channel. It's also on Amazon Prime.
Right.
And, okay, so there is a Mudgett. His name is Jeff Mudgett. And he is the great-great-grandson of
H.H.
Herman.
Right.
H.H. Holmes. And he has done like 20 years of research on his grandfather, told him of the great grandfather and all the
What a
stuff.
thing to learn about your family history, right?
Right, like how creepy is that? I was
Yeah.
I was trying to put myself in his shoes. Like, how would I react? I would probably do the same because I like to investigate.
Right.
So he got with this ex-CIA operative, but she also does other things. You know she's married to Bobby Kennedy, the third.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
She's also an actress. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. A little behind the scenes knowledge. Anyway, what is her name though? Wait, I wrote it down. Mosa? No.
Not Amorosa.
No. Hold on, I got her
Did you say
written.
Karma?
I wrote her name somewhere. Oh, okay. So anyway, you look for that and I'll finish. The great-great-grandson, as he was doing his research, he saw things in common between his great-great-grandfather and Jack the Ripper. And he started to dig deeper.
Amaryllis Fox?
What was it?
Amaryllis Fox?
Amaryllis.
Amaryllis.
That's a crazy name.
I was close. Fox.
Again, another name that I never heard of before.
Yeah. So she went on this little walkabout with him, this little journey. They started investigating to see, like, is it possible, this is why they call it the American Ripper, that his great-great-grandfather is actually Jack the Ripper.
Right.
So, while you watch this thing, there's so much in common that you start to believe that
It's possible.
it's possible.
Right. It's
it-
on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Where
just
did
saw
you
it
watch
on
it?
Prime.
Oh, okay.
Or YouTube. I watched some of it on YouTube.
Oh, wait. It's not on Netflix. I'm sorry.
It's not on
Yeah,
Netflix.
sorry. Wine, guys. Yes.
Rewind.
Rewind. YouTube and Prime.
Drink
YouTube?
more wine.
Drink more wine. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
that's
fine,
why we
fine,
call
fine.
us tipsy.
This is what. There's a reason why it's called Tipsy Tales, guys.
Anyway, that is why Jeff Mudgett started this little adventure. So a lot of the information I got was from that, but then I also looked at what's up, Wikipedia? That's what I think it is. Yeah. Wikipedia. Then there was some other site I was looking at, and I can't refer to it right now. I only got a little bit from that. I because as you all know, we like to get multiple sources.
Right.
So that's where I got most of my information. It's just kind of mostly from that, and then kind of collaborations from Wikipedia and other sources. Oh, this is how smart he is. He graduated high school at 16 and then ends up teaching. Did you know that?
Yeah.
At that young?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Pretty scary thought that there was a serial killer teaching young children.
Right. Yes, I thought the same. So anyway, okay, so pay attention to this too. I don't know if you guys notice this, but July 4th happens a lot. Like things on July 4th for this guy, things happen
pattern.
a lot. Yeah. And I don't think it's intentional. I just
Right.
think it's how things happen.
That's weird.
But anyway, July 4th, 1878, he married Clara Lovering in Alton, and they have a son. Scary to think. He was a
Right.
kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But after you hear this, you're going to be like, phew, thank God they're okay.
Right.
Because Robert ends up in February 3rd, 1880 in Loudon, New Hampshire. Robert eventually made it to adulthood to become an accountant, a certified accountant. So he makes it. Thank God.
Oh, good for Robert. He
Right?
managed to avoid having his dad
Clear.
Yeah, clear. Yeah.
introduce him to the Grim Reaper.
Right. And served as city manager. And, he moved to Orlando, Florida, and served as. But you know what? Part of it's probably because his dad, like, moved away
Was
from
kind of
him and his
absent.
mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because
went-
he was a hoe.
Yeah. So here's
That
the other
probably
thing.
served him well that his dad did
Yes.
leave. Not only the fact
Yes.
Always a
that
rolling stone.
even if his dad didn't per se decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to kill you, son.
It saved his life.
The way that he treated him could have possibly
Made him into another
Yeah.
serial killer.
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Or just
So-
his influence.
Yeah, I wonder. Do you ever wonder? I wonder if that's something that's possibly ever transferred through genetics.
Oh,
That those tendencies.
It's that whole nature and nurture thing we keep coming back
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Is
And
it-
then also getting hit on the front.
Right, the whole frontal lobe thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wonder if he ever got hit in the head, bumped his head when he was a kid, but
I
there's
don't
no
know.
evidence of that.
I don't know. It never said anything. But anyway, you're right. I mean, like we said, he changes his name a lot. He also, and I know, I'm jumping ahead, but he gets married a lot. He's a polygamist.
Right.
He gets married a lot.
He's a hoe.
He is a hoe. And it's not that he's just having affairs. He marries a lot of women.
Right.
So not only was he America's first serial killer, he was also America's biggest hoe.
Biggest hoe.
Yes.
I'm surprised his dick didn't fall off.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's because the devil kept it on.
Yeah, it could be. All right. In 1882, H.H. Holmes entered the University of Michigan. He did go to college for a little bit, and then he dropped out for like a year, and then he dropped out. And then he waited, and he ended up going back to college, but he went to medical school. And so he ended up at University of Michigan, Department of Medicine and Surgery. And
Awesome.
Yeah. We should all do. Okay. But you know
Where
what's
he began perfecting his filleting skills.
Yes. But you know what's crazy?
Practice on all those cadavers.
The cadavers that he brought in.
Yeah.
It's crazy how little amount of time they went to medical school.
Right.
Yeah.
So he graduated in 1884, June 1884. And while he was in medical school, he would, some stories said he was killing people, and then, so it's the same concept as I kept thinking of when you did Jack the Ripper.
Right.
That he was killing people, and then back then was, as you know from previous stories that we've done, that almost done.
Oh, those grave digger guys.
Yes.
Where they were selling corpses.
Yes.
They were digging them up and selling corpses.
Which he also did.
Yeah.
And so
Birkenhair.
I believe, huh?
Birkenhair. That was the two guys.
Oh,
Birkenhair.
the story. I don't know how you remember all that. I do a story and then I'm like, what? Did I do that one?
When did we do that? Oh, last week, Carlene.
I do. I don't know. I don't remember. But he did murder people, and he, just like Jack the Ripper style, and he also robbed corpse, and then he would take them in. He would also like dissolve the skin and everything, and then bleach the bones so they looked real good, and then sell them to the schools. And some of those skeletons still remain.
Yeah, I heard that. It was like some of the skeletons could literally be some
in
of his
the
victims.
libraries or the schools.
Either
now.
victims or people
school.
that he like
Yeah.
dug up from the grave. And
Ugh.
well, and then there was a whole insurance scam too, right? He was like just getting corpses and then
That's like in the story. Hold on, we're gonna be there.
sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
You're making her jump pages.
Because he was big on fraud and
Right, yeah.
insurance scams, which he ends up in jail eventually for a couple minutes. Okay, according to the housemates. Okay, so this is something I didn't realize either. But so when he was in college in medical school, him and his wife must have lived in the same, like a little dorm area which I didn't realize. So some of the classmates or housemates at the college said that he treated Clara violently and was abusive to her, which I didn't realize that, but makes sense.
Right.
Anyway, so she ends up like, go ahead, you go your way, I'll go. They didn't get divorced, but she, before his graduation, she moved to New Hampshire. She would later write how she knew little of him. Like, they got married too young and she didn't know anything about him.
Well, and I guess in those times he was considered a good-looking guy too. Like I keep running into that. I'm like, I guess
that was
he's not my
his-
type, but he was a good-looking guy then.
But that was his thing. That
Right.
was his selling point. That's how he got trust the women, because he was very
Charismatic.
Yeah.
And then
Usually that's one of the things they mention about a lot of serial killers is they tend to have a charisma a lot of times about them that they comes naturally to them, and that's how they're able a lot of times to lure
Like Ted
people
Bundy.
in
Yes,
and gain their
yeah.
trust
Yeah.
right before they put a knife in their head.
they're good people. People.
Yeah, be careful for those extroverts, guys.
You don't, go ahead and take the weird guy.
The weird, quiet guy. That you usually like. Sometimes when you meet somebody that's super weird and quiet and sitting in the corner, you're like, okay,
Skip.
he probably has somebody tied up in his basement. But it's not. It's the extroverted guy that's a people person, right?
Honestly, if you watch like those Dateline specials, it's the guy that was like the family loved him, his friends loved him. He was on the rowing team.
And they're very charismatic individuals. Yeah.
Mr. Popular.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a killer.
Just like that Alaska guy, I can't remember the name, but he was in Alaska and he had the plane and whatever. Like everybody like vouched for him.
Yeah. Well,
He's a good guy. I can't remember.
I do remember that story you did a while back.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, don't trust that guy. Anyway, while working in Philadelphia at a pharmacy, a boy died. Did you hear that part?
Yes.
Okay. Guy, no surprises.
Okay, but everybody else, other people might be surprised.
All right.
Yeah,
you guys just
don't
act
know.
surprised.
It's just because we're overlapping stories here.
I know.
That's why.
And interrupt if you guys know something I don't. But anyway, he was in Philadelphia. He was working at a pharmacy. It's kind of like one of his first, like, real medical kind of gigs, I think. But anyway, evidently he filled a script and the kid died. And all right, let's just see. Holmes denied any involvement in the child's death and leaves the city immediately. Guilty leaves, not guilty would stay. Don't you think?
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Anyway.
like, bye, see ya. I'm gonna change my name again.
He doesn't even fight. He's like, bye-bye. Because he leaves immediately. Anyway, he heads to Chicago. That's the first time he actually like goes. This guy's been everywhere,
right?
Like from coast to coast, from like different countries. Like everybody's been plagued with his whereabouts,
right?
I wonder if some of that wasn't just because of who he was, and he enjoyed being able to like present himself as his persona to certain people in different areas of the country,
like a world-renowned, sophisticated.
Yeah,
could be.
Yeah,
you never know.
Could be. I want to know, where did he get the money? I mean, okay, I just answered my own question in a way. I mean, he did. He scammed. That was his thing.
Well,
he was
and it's kind of weird that like he was such a scammer, but he never paid any of his bills.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so he always.
But that was part of his scam.
He was making money, but he was never.
That's
paying
how
bills.
he always had the money, because he never paid anything he owed.
He
was always scamming other people out of theirs.
Insurance frauds, and then he was also like, he had things done and then just didn't pay. And yeah, he got away with it, it seems, for a while. A long time. Anyway, but right after or right before he leaves, he changes his name. This is where he went from Herman to Henry Howard Holmes. So this is when he went to Chicago, is when he changed his name.
So wasn't that because people were already on to him and they were like filing lawsuits against him, and so he was just like, all right, I'm going to be somebody else.
To avoid being exposed by victims and their previous scams of fraud and poisons of death. So he had already been, the fingers being pointed at for the death of this kid. And then he did have little schemes already going of like fraud, some insurance things, little things like, but it's nothing compared to what he ends up doing to be doing.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like, okay, enough of being Herman. I got to change my name. And that's just par for his course. That's what he does.
Right.
Anyway.
He's a grifter.
He is. Yeah. He's the purest form of it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's almost like he was a precursor to a lot of the people we see nowadays in politics.
Mm-hmm. I don't even put my glass down to say, All right. In 1886, Holmes arrived in Chicago. Holmes. Sometimes when I was pulling up Holmes, it would come up with
Sherlock Holmes.
And I'm like, no.
Because that's what you think of when you hear Holmes, right?
Holmes, but all right. He begins working at a drugstore. This is like the beginning of it all. Okay. And I don't usually pay so much attention to like exactly where they're located, but this is significant. Anyway, he's at the southwest corner of South Wallace and West 63rd Street in Englewood. And he starts working for Elizabeth Holton, who gave him the job described. This Elizabeth Holton, she gives him this job, and she's like, he is such a hard-working young man. That's what she says after a few glasses.
Is that
of
what
wine.
that's what you're channeling right
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah. But he eventually buys that drugstore. So that's like where the nightmare kind of begins. Yeah, door up. I don't think anything happens to her. No. There's speculation. So some rumors were saying that her and her husband actually ended up dead, but they don't. They are fine and live on to the 20th century.
Well, I heard that. So he dies, the husband dies, but the wife disappears. So
yeah, that's not true.
That's not true?
No.
Okay.
Holmes then purchased an empty lot across from the drugstore. So across, I wish you people could see, because we watched it so we can visualize like where it's all at. That's why
I'll put.
Okay, so that's why I was like, it's important that I tell you it's at 63rd Street, because there's that whole block, and some believed it's now where what people call Murder Castle or the Murder Hotel or whatever. They call it Murder Castle, but where they believed it was this whole block, like it's now a post office. But it turns out it's only a very small portion of the post office and then a grassy area and like a parking lot area or something. But I watched this one thing. This guy, did you see this where he went down into the basement? And that was all like original stuff.
Of the post office?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So there's just remnants of the original
basement.
Building.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And spooky at the same time.
Yeah.
I just saw like a tail end of that at the end of my... You put it in there? Yeah. Okay, I'll let you cover it.
I consider myself a fairly brave person, but I don't think I would want to push my luck walking into a place where a lot of people were tortured and killed.
No. Did you see all the spirit
That tends to lead to a lot of
around?
negative energy hanging around.
Yeah. No. Okay, so anyway, he buys this this lot, and he builds a 2-story building. So it's only 2 stories to begin with. The bottom is retail, kind of the drugstore. He builds a new drugstore over there, and it's all retail. And then the second floor is apartments, I believe. In 1888, Aetna Iron and Steel sued Holmes. So this is where this all starts, like getting extra, because to build those buildings or that giant building or whatever, it's going to cost some money. And this is where his scamming gets super serious, because he's not paying them for the steel or for the architects or for the construction. So they're like, F you, man, we're going to sue you.
Well, doesn't he end up using different contractors too, like Deep Spire?
Girl, we're not there yet.
You're jumping ahead. Quit spoiling it for the listeners.
So anyway, because he refused to pay them for the architects and steel, he then added a 3rd floor, telling the investors and suppliers he intended to... Okay, so just so we can all... He adds a 3rd floor to add this, like, more rooms and everything, because there's this giant fair that's coming. It's humongous. It is actually one of like the biggest events that Chicago has had. Well,
I think the United States, because it was a World Fair, right?
Yeah, and people literally came from all around the world to go to this fair. And what did they call it? World's Columbine Expo? Exposition. Anyway, he thought that was going to be the moneymaker. Like, he would just have an abundance of people staying there, and that's where he was going to make. But it didn't happen for him, apparently. So anyway, while building that, and because it's so creepy, and there's all these little, the halls are like mazes, and the rooms have like gas being
Can we talk
drawn
about that?
into them like gas
Like
chambers.
that? I mean, what kind of fucking monster thinks
Yeah.
of something like
ahead
that?
of time, like
Right,
so
like he
fucking
had it
creepy.
built into the rooms, like these freaking gas tubes, and he also was watching them. Like,
Oh,
he
I
had
didn't know that part.
Yeah, he had little things where he could watch them
suffer.
suffocate. Yeah.
He had fake doors, so one room would have several doors in it, so the people, and then they try and open a door and it would just be a brick wall.
Yeah.
So it would mess
The guy
with their
was
heads.
Pretty perverted.
And then he had a chute to just drop
we were talking
them down.
about that when
So
we
then-
were hearing about the hotel. We're like, oh, I wonder if this is some other places where they got the Saw movie ideas.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Jigsaw, like the original Jigsaw. Come on.
Yes. Yeah, so all these rooms had a chute that went into the basement, and then he had kind of skipped ahead. But real quick to your comment, he did have he was firing workers. Every so many workers he would fire because he didn't want anybody to know his plans
Right.
Yeah.
and the layout. So he was being tricky. He soundproofed the rooms with asbestos. That's poison in itself.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he soundproofed the rooms.
But I mean, that was pretty common back then.
Right. I mean, up until not too long. Some houses still haven't, don't realize
Yeah.
it. And then they discovered, down in the basement, there was a whole torture chamber area where he would, literally torture people.
I was watching something that said that he was stretching them.
Yes. He would
Is that real or is that myth? Because there's so many things in this story that some of the stuff is just myth and some of it is
but
just...
they really found that stuff.
Oh my God. He had a rack.
So it was basically a medieval torture chamber.
Yes. And that's sick.
Yeah, this guy is a freaking...
He was
sadist on top of everything else.
Hey,
at least he admits it.
Maybe he was reincarnated from that era.
Well, we'll
and
talk
just
about the
living his
whole
lifestyle.
demon
thing. Yeah. There's so much. It's so disgusting. Okay, so he had acid vats. So he would have them go into the chute because then he didn't have to do any work. So they would die from the gas and then he would just send them in the chute and there'd be acid vats, quick lime that would dissolve them, and a crematorium. What?
Crematorium.
There we go. Crematorium.
I can't believe I can actually say that.
Whew,
Okay,
I better take another
just wait
drink.
until we get to my story, okay? Because I won't be able to talk. But right now, for yours...
You get to stay home, so you should be swigging that shit back. Okay.
We might be driving you home, though.
Yeah, I know. You might.
What you're saying is the next one's at my house,
Albert
so
might
I
be
can
driving
get
you
sloshed.
home. Albert stopped drinking.
Oh, that's good. To dispose the victims' bodies, he would often sell the corpse to the medical facility. So even when he had that place, he was still making money by selling them to medical facilities.
So
everything
was about money.
Yeah, he was making a lot of money doing it. But at the same time, why was he... Because he was getting some joy from it because there were some that he was just burning.
Right.
Oh, but then in that special, or that series, that history, they saw... Okay, so that's not in my notes, but he had bought across the river cement factory.
Right.
But he wasn't selling any of the cement. He was buying it.
Right.
But so it's coming in, but it's not going out.
So what you're saying is there's likely in parts of old Chicago bodies buried in cement.
Yes, in the river. And they actually took a sonar equipment and they found but they couldn't get permission to go in there.
This is Chicago.
Wow.
It's gangster land.
But that's where the gangsters came up with the idea
Oh, okay.
of the cement.
See, I didn't get past.
So he's an OG gangster, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's the original gangster.
Okay.
So they actually came up with that because when you encase them in that cement, no worms,
You're sleeping with the fishes.
Sleeping with the fishes. They actually did. They showed they buried a pig and put it in the cement and then 2 weeks later came back to see what would happen, and it was in perfect condition. Yeah, it's insane.
Because it's pretty much encased in there, so once they seal it in, all the moisture and everything pretty much evaporates, so it's very, very, very slow decay.
No, yeah, I mean,
or
no
if there's decay.
worms. Yeah, because there's no worms getting to them. There's no air. The air is the oxygen.
Right.
Is what starts the decay. Anyway, it was very interesting to watch, like, the science behind some things, and then to find out, like, that I think it was Al Capone or somebody that they were showing, and they're like, that's how they got this idea, was from him, basically.
That's where they got the idea of you'll be wearing cement shoes.
Cement shoes. Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. In 1892, the hotel was completed with 3 stories and a basement. The first floor.
The 90s.
Huh?
The 90s.
The 90s. The good old days.
Sorry.
Punk rock. Oh. The second floor consisted of his elaborate torture rooms with the chute that goes into the basement. The third floor was pretty prestigious apartments, I guess. In 1894, police officers were able to inspect the hotel while Holmes was out because he got arrested, like, briefly for, like, his fraud stuff, but it didn't stick. While Holmes was out, they found... Okay, so this is where they found rooms with hinged walls and false partitions, rooms linked with secret passageways, and the airtight rooms lined with gas lines. Once the
At
victims...
that time when they went in and inspected?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
But that's not what I saw.
Okay.
You're
Wouldn't that,
getting
like,
puzzled.
set off... Yeah. Wouldn't that set off alarm bells? Like, okay, why is there a gas
Yes.
line?
But then I watched something else that made more sense that actually showed them going in. It was once he was arrested. But I think this is once, if I'm going to be logical about it, to me, this sounds like once Peitzer.
Peitzel.
Peitzel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peitzel gets involved and, like, the shit goes down with that guy.
Isn't there, like, a little girl and her mom that gets killed prior to this? Like, he, like, seduces the mom or something. Like, it's somebody that works for him. I can't remember the name, but it's, like, one of his, like, earliest, like, victims that they've actually, like...
I don't know, because I knew there was one, like, there were a couple that I knew. I tried to go back and I couldn't find them.
Right.
So I was hoping that you would remember, because... I'm like, I know it was on here, and I can't find it for
So it was
anything.
one of his partners, and, like, I can't think of the name right now.
But I'm pretty sure I have more here.
Okay.
So first, let's see if I got it, and if I don't, then we'll go back. Anyway, that's what. But this I know was, like, later on. I'm just kind of, it's kind of skips around.
Okay.
Okay. Holmes had a habit of being unfaithful. And getting married, which we already talked about. He's a hoe. And getting married to women, even when married legally already to another. In late 1886, yes, this is where Myrta.
Okay.
In late 1886, while still married to Clara, he married Myrta in Minnesota. He tried to file for divorce from Clara in Minnesota. So he tried to claim that Clara was being unfaithful. That's what he claimed. And that infidelity. Mm-hmm. And that's why he wanted a divorce. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The courts were like, no, motherfucker.
You owe.
Yeah. You are staying, you're staying married to her. So they did not grant the divorce. Holmes and Myrta had a daughter, Lucy Theodette.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
Lucy Theodette Holmes. There's the mom's name.
Okay.
Born July 4th. He has a kid by another woman on the anniversary of his wife in his marriage. July 4th.
Crazy.
Isn't that
That's
horrible?
Weird coinky dinks.
Super gross. Anyway, 1889 in Chicago. Lucy later became, she didn't die. She later became a school teacher. Well, married to those two, he then married, this is it, Georgina Yoke, January 17th, 1894. I'm so excited. In Denver, Colorado.
Dude,
motherfucker got around.
He's like all the way getting close to the West Coast now.
Yeah. Okay.
Just north of us.
Well, he was an equal opportunity serial killer.
Okay, Holmes began with the wife of one. He began an affair with the wife of one of his tenants, Julia Smythe.
Okay, that's the one.
This is it. He was married to Ned Connor, who had moved into the building and began working at his pharmacy at the jewelry counter. Yes, this is it. Once Ned found out, listen, there's a lot of shit and it's hard to keep track. Once Ned found out about the affair, he left Julia. Julia had custody. Yes, I remember now. Sick motherfucker. Okay. Anyway, Julia, I get so excited. Julia had custody of the daughter, Pearl. The two remained in the hotel, and Julia continued her affair with Holmes. However, Christmas Eve. Right on Christmas Eve? That's so sick.
What a dick.
1891, Julia and Pearl disappeared. Dun, dun, dun.
Pearl's her daughter.
Yeah, right. The mom and the daughter disappear. He's done with them. He needs to find a new wife on top of his wife, kid.
Yeah, so it's his employee. He's having an affair with the employee's wife, and then they both...
You know what? Sick motherfucker. Like, instead of... Why'd you mess with them anyway? Like, just let them... But instead, he waits for the dude to leave. She gets custody of the kid, and then he's like, really, I just want to kill you.
Yeah.
That's all it was. So, Christmas Eve, Julia and Pearl disappeared. Holmes claimed Julia died during an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you didn't just take her in her kid's life, but now you're going to trash her. Because back then, having an abortion?
Right.
Motherfucker. Two other women, Emmeline, I don't know how to say. Did you hear about her? Emmeline and Eldra? I don't know. Van Tassel disappeared also that December as well. So actually it was, 3 women?
A little girl.
And a little girl. All in December. He was busy.
A little.
Yeah, and he wasn't delivering presents.
Well.
No.
I guess that's a gift to him. Sicko. Most victims are women. And he hired, did you guys see that? That he hires mostly women?
Right.
But because he wants to encourage women and women's rights.
Right. But also, didn't he make them sign up for insurance or something like that?
Well, he did that with all his employees.
Yeah, with all the employees.
But especially the women, like the women that he hired.
Because we talked
sign
about
a life
that.
Insurance policy.
Somewhere on here. Anyway.
Makes me wonder if this is where the whole beginning of the, I'm sure you may have heard of it, the terminology of peasant insurance came from.
No.
Yeah, there actually are policies that employers can actually get on their employees. It was referred to at one point as a peasant insurance.
And if you die, they can collect on it.
Yeah.
Well, anybody, I could get insurance on you.
Really?
Yeah, you don't need my permission.
Really?
I don't need your permission. I could take out a policy. I just learned this watching a court case. I watch a lot of court TV. Anyway.
She does, because she'll text me frequently. Turn on court TV.
But, yeah, you can take out a policy. Oh, doing the, what's her face? Lori Vallow. Lori. You can take out a policy on somebody, and I mean, as long as you're making the payments on it, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But if they die, you collect.
That's so weird.
Fucking weird. Fucker.
Yeah. Okay. Especially if that someone doesn't like you and they get a policy on you.
Oh. But tell me that's not going to look a little fishy. You're going to be the first one police look at. Yeah.
They're like, hey, you just took out a life insurance policy on this person, and then they ended up dead.
Yeah, you don't think
that's weird?
We heard that you guys didn't like each other. No, that's not the case at all.
Well,
there's this Facebook post that says, I hate this fucking bitch right here. I hope she dies.
Is she related to you?
I took out a policy because I care.
That's weird.
Yeah, no. Okay, so while working in the chemical bank on Dearborn Street, Holmes met, it's going to come up again, that life insurance thing. Holmes met who would become his right-hand man, Benjamin Peitzel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to say pretzel.
Pretzel.
Because you're hungry, apparently.
He's a carpenter who had... Huh? Oh, there's one piece left. Who had his own criminal past. So this guy's shady too. So they kind of blend well. It's almost like who's going to stab who in the back first.
Right. It almost sounds like too, this guy is like a ne'er-do-well that could just not do anything right. So, and he ends up employed by Holmes. And Holmes just likes that he just does things without question.
Oh,
he's like,
kinda.
I need you to do this. I need you to bury that body. Okay, sir.
He's basically a willing fool.
Yeah.
Sounds
like it. I mean, well,
for a while.
The end result there,
yeah,
kind of sounds like he just went along with his own demise.
I mean, it was kind of like who's going to stab who in the back first, and then who's going to win at stabbing who in the back first. And then they actually brought in more characters into that scene. So it was like, who's going to outsmart who? Right. Who's smarter? He was exhibiting in the same building a coal bin he had invented. I mean, he definitely was the shit worker.
Right.
And
Igor.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There's points of this, though, that I was researching where I'm like, well, I mean, sometimes he was like, dude, you know what you're doing, so get what you get.
Well, maybe that's what got him killed.
He knew he knew he was dealing with.
Right. Oh, that's what you think. All right. In 1893, a woman named Minnie Williams. Are we happy? She was. They said she was a one-time actress.
Mm-hmm.
So that just means she was like she did something once.
She did a play.
She did a porn.
Maybe that too.
Porn back then?
Yeah. Holmes claimed
it was when the girls would get in wearing those funky looking nighty things, and they would show a little bit of leg. That was porn.
Seriously, that was porn.
But was there film back then? 'Cause it was
No.
No, they did the pictures like that would be in the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they would just be showing, like, maybe it would show their shoulder area up here.
And
like
that was porn.
That was pretty sexy.
Like the legs from
Their
about
ankles. I heard ankles were pretty sexy.
Wow. We've come a long way. I remember when you couldn't say shit, and now you say it on regular.
We're on our podcast like motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucking bullshit. Okay. I think they met through an employment office. Okay. That's what he says. Anyway, the rumors were that they met in Boston years earlier. Holmes hired her as his personal stenographer.
Wow.
That sounds important.
Very important.
Holmes persuaded Williams to transfer... this is so shady. So he tells her to transfer the deed to her property in Fort Worth, Texas. That, by the way, right?
Yep.
Okay. In Fort Worth, Texas, to a man named Alexander Bond. But that's really Holmes. That's
James
just an
Bond.
alias. Yeah. He was the first
shaken, not stirred.
All right. All right. Yeah. In 1893, Williams transferred the deed with Holmes serving as the notary. Later, Holmes would sign the property over to Pitzel, giving him an alias, Benton T. Lyman. He's so good.
Peitzel is now Benton T. Lyman.
Yes.
Scam after scam.
Right.
After scam.
To do this, I don't know. I can't lie worth beans. So, because I don't want to keep track of telling a lie.
Right.
But I can't. Like, I would mess it up.
I feel you on the ADD tip because, there's just no way I could keep up with this story.
No. If you asked me, did you say this? If I fucking said it, I will say I said it.
Right.
Because it's not worth lying about. I won't be able to keep my lies straight.
Or I'll be like, well, maybe I said it. I don't know.
And I may not
was a different person yesterday. I have no idea.
Right. I may not be able to remember that I said it. But if I did, and I know about it, I will definitely admit it. Anyway, okay. So later the next month, Holmes and Williams rented an apartment, acting as man and wife in Chicago, in Lincoln Park. Mm-hmm. So here's what I want to know. Why'd they have to do that?
That's weird.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Minnie's sister, Annie, then visits in July and wants her aunt. What? Oh, she wrote her aunt. I can't read my own shit. All right. Hey, listen, this wine's good, but it's messing with my reading.
Yeah, it's the wine.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, she wrote to her aunt that she planned to accompany Brother Harry to Europe. Neither Minnie nor Annie were ever seen again alive after July 5th, 1893. Motherfucker.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if you researched this or not, but I think the nieces of Minnie are alive today, like the great nieces.
Right.
And they talk about this.
I didn't run into that.
Anyway, they talk about it. How, she was never seen again, or Annie was never seen, or whatever. Anyway, Mudgett also required his employees to carry life insurance. Yourself a motherfucker. Naming him as the beneficiary.
Just in case he has to kill your ass.
Because he's looking out for their best interests.
Right.
So he could collect the motherfucking money after he killed your ass.
Corpse into a skeleton that he sold to a college somewhere. And made about $5,000.
Let's just be thankful that he wasn't eating them.
This is true.
Like my last story.
Yes. I mean, it could have been worse.
Could have been worse. He could have been chowing on them.
Wow. Considering the stuff he did, it's still.
I mean, it could have been worse.
Demented.
Could have been worse. Sickening.
When we say it could have been worse, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. And
what was that guy eating them and having sex with them or something?
He was eating them. He was eating his buddies.
Wasn't Jeffrey Dahmer? Didn't he do that with some of his victims?
It wasn't Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
Was it?
No, that's a whole different dude.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to.
No. This guy was like a cowboy from the West.
That had a penchant for eating the people that he killed.
Yeah, and then he went back and did it again.
So,
seconds.
I'm assuming he made them into a stew and just eat them raw, right?
No.
Not even that?
No. He just cut off their leg and.
So the next time you have a Slim Jim?
Yeah. Ooh, you might be having a Slim.
You might be having
Maybe that's where the concept came from for Slim Jims.
Could be. All right. In 1893, Holmes was arrested. This is the first time he was arrested for fraud.
Horse thief? Oh.
No, horse thief.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
What?
Listen, I didn't see that part.
It had to do with him going to Texas.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe you got it in there and you just don't remember.
I doubt it.
Well, you did say you can't remember what you
because that's pretty much what he got caught for.
Oh.
That was what he was. That's what they said. At least that's what they said he was originally arrested for.
Oh,
was
really?
for horse thieving in Texas, and then from there the investigation just expanded.
That's not what I got, kids.
Okay. So let's hear what you got.
Compare notes. I don't think I did that. Usually I can remember most of what I wrote. Anyway, 1893, he's arrested for fraud after he had... Oh, this is the fire that he set. He set fire on the 3rd floor. He was later released and concocted a scheme with Pitzel to to defraud the insurance company by faking Pitzel's death. Dun, dun, dun. This is where now we're getting...
Okay, I think this is what he gets caught on.
This is what he gets caught about. Okay. Yeah.
Huh? You're right.
Yeah. I don't know about no horse thing though. So
but he did get arrested.
That'll be good for you to, because I don't know anything about it. Okay, you guys can bring it up. Yeah?
Look it up.
Bring it up.
Look it up. Look it down.
All right. Anyway, after Pitzel purchased a $10,000 life insurance policy, he and Holmes traveled to Colorado, Missouri, New York, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Texas, where they continued other acts of fraud, and where Holmes would marry. Who did he hit with the chair? Because he was mad about the accounting.
We'll get to that. I did find the information regarding the horse thefts.
Okay, good. Oh, wait!
She just remembered.
Yeah, but I didn't come back to it, so I didn't write about it. So yes, I do want you to. But anyway, okay, blah blah blah.
See how we're like all like jumping in? We're like,
it's so exciting though.
There's so much.
All right, so they committed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they committed other acts of fraud, and where Holmes would marry other women. So he had many more aliases, and he married many more women.
Because he was a hoe.
He's disgusting. While returning to Missouri, Holmes was arrested for fraud and briefly jailed in St. Louis, again, where he met fellow inmate Marion Hedgepeth. Hedgepeth? Did you hear about him?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Maybe not. Or maybe
this is what I mean. Like, he finds other people that if he didn't, he would have still been killing.
Right.
Anyway, this is a career criminal who agreed to help him with the insurance scheme. It's almost like he's like, you know what? This Pitzel dude is an idiot. He's a putz. And now we're going to need, you and I should team up.
Right.
And I will give you, out of this $10,000, I'll give you $500 and a good attorney, blah, blah, blah. Because this guy's serving 25 years.
Right.
So the guy's
$500 out of $10,000. Well, that sounds great.
The 500 is like, it's a lot of money in today's money, and the 10,000 is like 240 grand. So that's a lot of money. I mean, 500 of that is still a lot of, and back then for a guy that's not going anywhere, he's not going anywhere. He can't get out. So, meanwhile, Pitzel, I don't know how to say his name. Pitzel moves to Philly to open a fake patent office because now they're going to scam all these inventors. Holmes travels to Philly to meet up with Pitzel after his release. All right, the deal with Hedgepeth, whatever his name was.
Hodgepodge.
Was to get $10,000 to get that $10,000 insurance policy.
Right.
In exchange for the name of a trusted lawyer, Holmes was directed to... I don't understand. Anyway, there was this young St. Louis attorney. Yeah, this is what happens to us. So, plus it's confusing. It is. It's confusion.
It's insurance.
That is okay. Wait, no.
There's a lot of stories to this guy.
And I do remember getting confused. I didn't know if the attorney was for Hedgepeth or for Holmes. That did confuse me when I was writing it and watching it. So I just whatever. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Anyway, Holmes was directed to the young St. Louis attorney named Jephthah Howe. His name's Howe. Okay?
Jephthah Howe.
Jephthah Howe.
Jebediah?
Jebediah.
Jebda. Really? Jebda.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, we're going to go with Howe. Let's just call him Mr. Howe.
Yeah. There you go.
Mr. Howe found Holmes' schemes brilliant. He's like, dude, you're so fucking amazing. I want in. Let's do it. Although Holmes failed at his schemes when the insurance company became suspicious and refused to pay, so he then concocted similar plan with Pitzel. So, wait, what? Okay, so when Pitzel, I think when they did the whole fire of the 3rd floor, that failed so miserably. So now he's like, okay, that did fuck up, but now I'm gonna team up with this dude, and we're gonna do it bigger and better.
Right.
Okay, so Pitzel agrees to fake his own death. So, yeah.
This is the part that gets me, because, like, this grand scheme of faking his own death. Hello, no alarm bells went off for you, dude?
Right. You're talking to a serial killer.
Right.
But, okay. Anyway, he's gonna...
I'm gonna guess that he's buried bodies for him, or disposed of bodies at this point.
Yeah, he's done all of it. All the dirty work. He's done basically anything that Holmes has wanted him to do. He's
so
done
I have
it.
this great idea, dude. We're gonna travel here.
Yeah.
And we
take out an insurance
policy on you, and we're gonna fake your death.
But I promise your wife will get money from it. Like I'm it's all legit. I just want a little bit.
But it gets worse.
Yeah. He's telling him his wife's going to get $10,000, but she'll split it with Holmes, because that's the deal.
Right.
Oh, and with Howe. We can't leave him out now. Mr. Howe. Pitzer. We're just going to call him Pitzer because it kind of sounds like pisser.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Pisser?
Was to set himself up as an inventor under the name of B.F. Perry, and then be killed and disfigured. So basically he's going to be an explosion and his body parts are going to be over. They're not going to be able to say that it's not him.
He's used to the finding cadavers and like destroying them and making them.
He can do it, he thinks. Instead, Holmes kills Pitzer. I think it's Pitzer.
Pitzel.
It's Pitzel. Pitzer.
Isn't there's an L in there? Pitzel.
Oh, I have.
Pitzel.
Oh, you're right. Pitzel. Damn me, motherfucker. I have Pitzer all on this page. That's what's throwing me off. You're right. I'm sorry. I should know. She's always right. It's Pitzel. Oh, my God. This wine is strong.
Right. When you guys listen to those, it's always Pitzel, even if she says Pitzer.
It's Pitzel. It's P-I-T-E.
It's pretzel.
Don't do that. Pretzel. That's what's confusing me. It's Pitzel.
Pitzel.
P-I-T-E-Z-E-L. Pitzel. Pitzel. Motherfuckers. I have Pitzer on this whole page. But I have Pitzel on this whole page. Oh, wait, I have Pitzel right here. It's a weird
kind of dyslexia.
Yeah. No, I have
Maybe
Pitzel
you were
right here.
reading two different pages when you were doing it.
Hilarious.
That's funny.
It's hilarious. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter. He's an idiot, so he doesn't deserve to have his name right. Okay.
You should just call him idiot from here forth.
Yeah.
Well, he is kind of an idiot.
Dumbass. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of his life. So instead of getting the cadaver and faking it all, Holmes knocks him out, chloroform, he says, and kills him, basically, blah, 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 and sets his body on fire. That's what he says. This is long. In his confession, Holmes implied Pitzel was still alive after he used the chloroform on him, prior to him being set on fire. However, this is what I was really shocked about. Forensic evidence. Did you know that?
No. In 1890 something?
Yes. However, forensic evidence presented at Holmes' later trial showed chloroform was administered after his death, presumably to fake. I'm not going to correct it.
Presumably.
To fake a suicide and exonerate Holmes, who almost fucked that name up. He should be charged. He chloroformed himself. They were able to charge him with the murder because of that.
So basically, do you have the part about like all the stuff that he was telling the wife back and forth? And the
Hold on. Settle down, girl. Stop jumping ahead. Yeah, where is that? I know I have it. Wait, yeah, it's on here. Okay. So anyway, Holmes did get the insurance payout due to the corpse actually being Peitzel. And this is, the trial that I'm talking about in the forensic, that's the final trial. That happened at his final trial. Okay. So Holmes did get a payout due to the corpse accident actually being Peitzel. And not, so it was a good thing it wasn't somebody else or a fake thing, because he wouldn't have gotten money. Mm-hmm. Holmes then went on to manipulate Peitzel's wife by telling her that her husband was actually alive. Hold on. So to me, they made it sound like it was scary that he was still alive, like he's abusive and like she should be afraid. And then like they were, then he convinced her to give him 3 of the kids, and then she kept the oldest and the youngest. Mm-hmm. So he took Howard, Alice, and Nellie, right? Yeah. Anyway, so
she sends one of her daughters first.
That's not what I got, but what'd you get?
She sent one of her daughters to identify the body, and that's how he got the claim. That's what I'm saying. It's like
that's
like
weird.
different sources.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean it is. It's different sources, and then you kind of just got to pick one.
Right.
The eldest daughter and the baby stayed with her, Holmes, and 3 children. But this is another thing. Like, I don't remember them saying anything about how he traveled all over the place with them, but he did. That's what they said. And so he traveled throughout the northern U.S. and into Canada. And at the same time, the mom is like this close to her kids too, because it's like they're neck and neck. So the trail that he put the mom, the older sister, and the baby on, and the trail that he was on, they were kind of like parallel to each other. Mm-hmm.
But
really
never
sick.
in the same place.
Was sick.
Yeah.
He's sick. Anyway, all while using an alias and lying to her about her husband's death, claiming that her husband, he would tell her that her husband was hiding in London. Like, it's okay, he's in London, whatever. Then why do you have to have my kids?
Right. What's
like,
the
it
whole
doesn't
point
make
of
any
this? Yeah.
sense.
But why did she send her kids? That's a whole nother thing. Like,
that's what I don't understand.
What were you thinking?
He is a master
manipulator.
Fucker. So anyway, yeah, so whatever he did, whatever. As well as lying to her about the true whereabouts of her 3 children. At one point, they were all separated by just a few blocks while in Detroit. All right, well, Indianapolis, Holmes drugged Howard, the little kid, the boy, and then he chopped him up. They were it sounds like I spit on myself. They were at a cabin, and that's where they said he used his surgical instruments to cut him up, then burn him, and that's where they found the boy's teeth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some bone.
Yep, bits of bone, but not all of him. So
yeah, not all.
Apparently, he's like buried throughout the property. Like
pretty gross.
Yeah,
sick fuck. He killed Alice, and this is. Oh my God, this is so sad. But why? I don't understand. I want to know how old these girls are.
They're pretty young.
No, they gotta be. He forces them into a trunk, like a traveling trunk, and he sticks like a hose that's attached to a gas line, and he gasses them to death.
Which is not new for him.
No, it's his MO.
Yeah.
It's like his signature.
Right.
God, he's sick. Anyway, they found the decomposed bodies of the girls in a Toronto home. Oh, he buried them.
All the way up in Canada.
He only buried them 3 feet. So, like, the stench.
Oh, my God.
That's how they found them, was the smell.
You couldn't bury them a little deeper?
No, the detectives
couldn't even be bothered.
But because of all of this is how he got caught. Anyway, in October 1895, Holmes is finally put on trial for murder of... Get all these murders he committed, and he's only on for this one.
Right.
Because
it's what they could pin him for.
Yeah, for Peitzel. that is. Peitzer. You call him Peitzer if you want.
Peitzel.
That's hilarious.
Tomato.
That's hilarious. Oh, how long was I calling him Peitzer? I can't wait to listen to this to find out how long I was calling him Peitzer. It had to be that whole page for sure.
And the only reason I know is because it's part of my story, so I had to type it out. So I was like,
well, I wrote it 500 times, and I remember Peitzel, because there's an E in there, P-I-T-E.
And then you were like drinking wine,
and I
like,
fucked it up. God, that's fucking hilarious. All right. Anyway, he's finally put on trial for the murders of Benjamin. Following his conviction, was somebody actually knocking?
She just let the dogs in. Serena just got home.
Oh, Serena's home. Holmes confessed to 20. Here's another sick.
Another
sick thing. Sick. That was fucking suck at the same time.
Another sucking thing.
Yeah. Another sucking thing is he confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto through, though some of those he confessed to, they were still alive. Did you read that part?
Yeah.
Or hear that part?
So it's weird that, like, in some instances,
They're
it's
more.
like it's about 200 deaths.
Well, they said there's 20 to 200 that he has possibly killed.
Right, but there's only 20-something that he's actually been pinned to, like, directly, like...
It's just ridiculous. Yeah, all the stories are all over the place.
And then you sent me that article about, was it Houston, Fort Worth? It was like Texas,
the Texas one.
Yeah, that he possibly started building, well, not possibly. He
Another,
actually did start building another murder castle.
Well, that's why I think he wanted that property.
Right. So with the whole World Fair going on.
There's way more than 200.
And him going through all that elaborate mess of like putting that whole thing together.
And this 27, he was just playing games because some of these people that he was saying he killed were still alive.
Right.
But yet there's hundreds that he killed that he didn't mention.
Right.
So anyway, this says he murdered, it's what we just talked about, 2,200 because they now had a chance to review all the murders that he had done. Anyway, Holmes was paid that's why he wrote that book too. He was paid $7,500, equivalent to $250. That's the $250,000 that I was thinking. So $10,000 is way more than $250.
William Hearst or whatever he sold his book to, or
no. So he got the $750,000 or the $7,500 was by the Hearst newspaper in exchange for the confession.
Okay.
Before his hanging on May 7th, 1896, Holmes also wrote a book and asked that it be given to the judge. It was basically a big excuse. I told you guys all this. A big excuse for his behavior.
Like, what a fucking narcissist. He's
that's what they talk about. That he's a big narcissist about writing this book about himself and how he, poor me.
This is why I'm the way I am.
It was basically woe was me.
I couldn't have been any other way because basically this was my upbringing.
That's what he does. I couldn't even. I read like 4 pages of it and I was like,
gag. Yeah. Gag. What was the whole devil thing you got?
Right. He is quoted as saying before his death, I was born with do you want me to do it my devil voice?
That ain't devil voice.
I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than a poet can help the inspiration to a song. I was born with the evil one standing as my sponsor beside the bed. The delay in this thing is starting to bug me.
I'm sorry.
Beside the bed where I was ushered into the world, and he sat with me since. So he's basically saying, it's not my fault. The devil is in me.
The devil made me do it.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And there's like some other thing where he's talking about like he sees his like self turning into the devil, like his features, like he's morphing into the features.
I think he wants to be the devil.
Yeah,
that was after he had gotten arrested.
Yeah.
That they had mentioned. It was after he had been arrested for a while, that he had mentioned that he was seeing his own features beginning to change since he'd been incarcerated and transforming into a demon, essentially.
I'm going to try and get this through this really quick since we're at 2 hours plus.
Jeez, I'm telling you. That's why I'm glad that you didn't find a lot.
It is a lot to get through.
Since the murder castle that he built in 1893 is no longer in existence, some stories are saying that it was burnt to the ground during that time period. Mm-hmm. But there's other stories that are saying that it wasn't actually torn down until 1938. Can you hear me?
There, now we can.
All right. So in its place stands a nondescript postal office, and there are rumors that the basement is haunted. So,
yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Ghost hunters still flock to the area, even though they are really not given access. A lot of them just...
Did ghost hunters go?
No, not ghost hunters, but the grandson that you talked about, Jeff, he did get in there. And there has been some people that have been given access. Here we go again.
Oh, God, they got in by themselves.
It's like a herd. It's like a herd. They're probably thirsty, babe. So anyways, maintenance workers report odd sightings and feelings of intense anxiety while in the building's basement where most of the murders took place. One employee said that they heard a sound in the basement, turned the corner, see what it was, and called out to see if it was another employee. And then they went down the hall, and where there had been a bunch of chairs like stacked against the wall, they seen the chairs, they walked back out, and then they walked back in, and all these chairs were stacked on top of each other.
Oh, that's not like normal ghost behavior.
So, and then this basement is where there's still a remnant of the wall or the foundation of the old murder castle.
That's like poltergeist behavior.
Yeah, that's super creepy.
I mean, there are some people that believe he came back as...
Right. Because there was some people that say that he faked his death. Mm-hmm. So that's creepy.
But they also think he came back as, came
back as what?
Evil.
Incarnate. Oh. Others have seen the apparition of a woman on the property, sometimes in the grassy area adjacent to the post office where the actual building once stood. So
I would believe that more.
Since you watched them, you know that like there's the post office on this one part of that block, and then there's like a grassy area, and there's actually a parking lot that belongs to the post office. That is actually where the murder castle stood. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably like put like a whole diagram of that whole area on the website and on Instagram and on Facebook as well, so you guys can see that. One account I got off of Adam Seltzer's Mysterious Chicago Tour site talks about one encounter, or more of a feeling. He said, I did just have a woman on a tour who lived near the castle when she was young, when it was still standing. She said she remembered feeling spooked by the place, enough so that she crossed the street so as not to walk by the site, but didn't know why until decades later.
Oh.
He also gets a pretty cool EVP that sounds like a little girl singing, which I am going to... That is going to be on our
So you heard it?
Yes.
Oh, is it creepy?
Yes. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it here. I'm going to try...
I got chills. His whispering's giving me chills.
Yeah.
Do it again. The singing is not him. That is insane.
I'll play it one more time.
Okay. That was so good.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Which would make sense because kids.
Oh, they're gonna wasn't the little girl.
Uh-huh.
The little girl. So, and he like basically interprets what she says as either buried deep below.
Oh.
Or a cheeky interpretation as sorry, beefalo.
Ah.
Which he said sounded like the worst flavor of Chef Boyardee ever. Holmes' grandson, Jeff Mudgett, visited the site before he had done the History Channel special, American Ripper, which you mentioned before. And he also wrote a book called Bloodstains.
Oh, hold on. freeze before I forget.
Uh-huh.
There's going to be a movie or a series or a movie with Leonardo Dicaprio.
Is there really? I was going to say, why hasn't somebody made a movie about this yet?
They're working on it. It just
God.
it's almost like they just got it kind of going in 2019. So it's in the process.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Definitely going to watch that. Because I was like, why hasn't somebody made a movie about this? This is like so like...
Amazing.
It's
like,
crazy.
Yeah,
the whole
crazy.
thing is crazy. Okay. So anyways, he claims once he got access to the basement where apparently some of the foundation of the original murder castle is still intact, he claims that he felt a great pressure on his head and that he also felt something compelling him to kill the people that were with him on the tour.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So he basically escapes from there and is just like, he even goes and sees a neurologist. Like, what the fuck was that? Because he walked into that basement kind of being a skeptic and walks out like, holy crap, according to him. And then he claims that when he later visited the site with the History Channel crew. Visited? He visited?
She just goes right over it, where I have to point it out to everybody when I do it.
And he said he felt none of that. None of the darkness, none of the heavy oppressiveness when he went visited. Okay.
Even when they were in the grave, he didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
He didn't acknowledge it.
So I just thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
So that's all I could find on the Englewood post office location. There's another location that is linked to Holmes, and this is a small house in Irvington, Indiana. It is here that Ghost Adventures actually filmed the first episode of their serial killer special. Yes, I freaking copped for an episode on Prime of this because I couldn't find it free anywhere else. So I had to watch it. And you already know how I feel about Ghost Adventures. So
did you regret it?
But they got some interesting stuff.
Did they?
Aside from all the theatrics.
But they did, but they are very much
dramatic
drama queens.
Yeah.
Super drama queens. Albert was. We were like, it's hard to watch and not laugh.
Yes.
It's hard to watch and not laugh, especially when you're watching together and you're just like, come on.
Me and Zach.
It kind of takes away from because they are such drama queens. It takes away from them. You know what I mean? Like if they weren't
anything
consistently like that. When they actually got something legitimate, people would be more like, "Oh, well, my God!"
But they have such a huge following, though. Like people, like
I don't get. Well, I mean,
like
Teletubbies.
We still watch it.
It's Barney and Teletubbies. Like they're so dramatic, and everybody loves them.
He's
But that's what he's like. It's like maybe that's just what captures people's attention.
That may be where their base comes from. People that love that.
Yeah, like maybe we need. Hey, Alma!
Hey,
let's
Carlene!
Start talking like this! And in our next episode...
Guess what, folks?
Oh, you're not gonna believe it! Somebody farted!
Every time.
That's probably every episode.
Yeah.
Or at least we talk about it. Or we recount it.
Yeah.
Or
well,
we smell it.
Or amazing. If that doesn't attract a listener.
Whoever smelt it, dealt it. So it talks about on October 5th, 1894, Holmes rented the key. So you kind of went over this. Rented the cute little cottage from J.C. Wands. He was seen on the premises with Howard Peitzel, the son of his right-hand man, Benjamin, whom he had already killed at this point. Eventually, once Holmes' number was up, Detective Frank Geyer investigated the Irvington house and discovered bones belonging to Howard Peitzel. Howard was just a child. And Howard seems to be one of the spirits haunting the house.
Oh, I was thinking about that. Like when you and I were talking and it was like, I don't know. I'm like, why? I don't understand how there can't be more of them like wanting to tell their story.
I'm surprised that it was so hard to find the haunting stuff. Right. That I had to resort to Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, that floors me.
Yeah.
That means that they're at peace. Ooh, did you hear my burpee? You guys don't have your headphones on. It was loud.
I don't have my headphones on because I can't deal with the feedback.
Yeah,
all right.
It was getting annoying after a while.
So here are some notes I took from the episode. So it starts with Zach talking to the current resident, who I think grew up in the home. They're sitting in an all-pink room with an adult-sized crib surrounded by shelves with adult-sized diapers and large containers of baby powder.
What?
This is her room.
Yeah.
She apparently lives her life
That's insane.
as a baby. She has pigtails and everything.
What?
Yeah, it's
literally looked like a life-size Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It was kind of bizarre and it was a little off-putting.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to each their own.
In all fairness,
did she change her own diapers?
She did mention, though, that they spoke about her mother. Her mother actually had some issues, and they believe it was related to possible spirits that were there in the house that caused the mother to begin kind of losing touch with reality and was treating the daughter in a way that kind of
like
essentially created where she is now. Yeah.
Oh. It kind of sounded that way, yeah. So weird. Anyway, she says that she explains like there was one time when her mom just kind of just like gives her this blank stare and says,
"Do it to me."
Hold on. So her mom thinks the house is haunted by H.H. Holmes, by the way.
Okay.
So she's like, gives her this blank stare and just looks at her and was like, "Sweet dreams, Howie."
No, she doesn't.
Maybe not like that voice, but
I like the voice. Oh, that was hilarious.
Howie was a little boy, so basically got like taken over by H.H.
That's sad.
So Samantha, that's the name of the girl. She tries to figure out what's happening in the house, and she decides to use a Ouija board, which is always the smartest option.
Everybody always has to use a Ouija board.
And so she thinks that after that session, that she allowed something dark into the house. You think? So Zach brings in a psychic that has apparently been there before, and they take her to the basement where she claims she's never been. So she's been in the house before, but she's never been to the basement. And she basically relays that Howard Peitzel is definitely in the house and that he wonders why she can't see him and that he wants to see his family. Like, it's kind of sad. And then they use an ovulus, which is basically a spirit box, and they bring in some trigger items, which are basically
I think that's so mean.
The trigger items?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lock of hair, and there was like a straight razor and some other things that they had found that they think were used to kill Howie.
Oh my God, that's so fucked up.
Some of the message that they received from the ovulus are the haunting, you haunt me or you hunt me, and then I hate.
Well, I can believe that.
And they are all in a male voice. So those are the messages that come through that session. So then they bring in Jeff Mudgett, who's the great-great-grandson of Howard, or not Howard, what's his name? H.H. Holmes. Whatever. Yeah. Who has been in the home before, and he explains that the last time he was there, he experienced pressure on his chest, and he kept hearing the name Mudgett, like almost an accusational, like it was like, Mudgett, like, and so...
Like it's your fault, Mudgett?
Something like that.
Maybe you're a
Mudgett too?
Like you fucking Mudgett.
You fucking Mudgetts. You fucking Mudgetts. Apparently, it was so bad that he had to be carried out of the house at that point.
What?
So this wasn't on the episode, but this was a prior visit. Huh. So on that night that he's there with Ghost Adventures, he's up in the attic bedroom. He starts experiencing pressure in his chest. They're doing an EVP session, and he starts feeling like he's losing his balance. They hear audible whispers, which they catch on the recorder. Also an EVP that says, "Hear me."
Ooh.
Did you understand that?
Hear me.
All right. Then before the actual investigation, of course, Zach has to do his thing. He stands in front of the house, and he says pretty much the whole small block of houses by this house still lock their doors at night because they think the spirits are trying to get into their houses.
They lock their doors because it's 2020, and if you don't, you're going to end up being a spirit yourself.
And you know how spirits are deterred.
Know how good locked doors work against spirits.
All right. So, of course, it's
that's weird.
night, and they immediately get a cold spot in the kitchen, and Zach goes into full drama mode, and he's all, I feel rage! Literally, like, babe.
Yeah, he did.
That's hilarious.
He stands there, he's like, angry.
Oh
so they
my.
also get an EVP that they can't make out the sound, but it sounds creepy. Then they go upstairs and are using something called a paranormal puck. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Which they set on the
It
bed.
literally looks like your Amazon Echo or whatever.
And then they have like another device that looks like they're texting. So it's out there capturing. So anyways.
Well, they're texting instead of saying the things out loud.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess there's another device that is a tablet that goes along with it, and you're basically text messaging with spirit, which is what you said.
It's interesting.
You type in the question and it responds. Billy is handling the text part, sitting out on the top of the stairs, and he starts coughing, just hacking.
Okay.
While he's doing the texting thing, he says,
How did you feel about that? Did you believe it?
Yeah, because it really sounded like he's coughing.
Okay.
Didn't it? It sounded like he was coughing. So
I don't know. There was parts of it that seemed believable, and there's parts that seemed maybe a little bit
dramatic.
Yeah. So he puts in something like, where's Holmes? And it responds with beside. And then his coughing gets progressively worse. Then they ask, where is HH? And it responds with past manner.
What?
Then he hands it off to Zach because his coughing gets worse. And Zach says out loud, he doesn't type it into the thing. He says, who's here? But it doesn't type into the tablet, but the response is 7 girls. And there is 7 girls that have been identified as being killed by H.H. Holmes.
Wait, but not in that house?
Not in that house, but 7 girls.
Okay.
And then I forgot what they asked, but it says something about what it's doing to Billy, and it says killing.
What?
Yeah. And then they ask, how are you killing Billy? And it responds with cough.
Oh, what?
And then, of course, Zach goes into full,
No.
oh my God!
Right.
Oh my God!
Right, his trauma.
Oh!
Right.
We got evidence!
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
but all the while, his friend is coughing up his lung, and he doesn't even, he's looking
He's not
into
asking
this
if he's okay?
No.
I think that's why there's a turnover in his show, of people. They leave and they start their own show.
Because he's so into this moment that he doesn't even just turn. So, and this isn't the first time.
He doesn't go into the dangerous situations.
No,
he puts his buddies in it.
Aaron. Poor Aaron.
Yeah.
Send Aaron. Let's send Aaron into the dark room to get touched by demons.
Yeah.
So anyways, there is a moment where he sends Aaron in the room to get touched by demons.
Please.
And then they start hearing a cracking sound coming out of a spot in the floor that went down to the old furnace, which is where he probably tried to dispose of Howard's body. They ask, what is killing Billy, their friend that's coughing?
Oh.
And it responds with, they. Then it says, soldiers.
Oh, really? Are there soldiers in there?
Well, let me just tell you right now. Hold on. So, of course, they automatically jump to soldier demons of hell. And they theorize that Holmes was a soldier demon because of the quotes of him saying that the devil walks beside me. And the fact that he wrote that he felt his features were morphing into the devil in prison. Maybe a stretch? I don't know. So then, out of nowhere, Zach tells Aaron that he thinks they are going to attack Aaron next, and Aaron's like, fuck you, he gets all pissed off and he walks out. He's like, there's so much negativity here. He gets all upset and he walks out.
That's hilarious.
Forget you. And then he walks back in and they tell him to go in the closet, and immediately he hears hissing. I kid you not.
God's sakes.
He hears hissing and then he jumps out and he's like, oh my God. There's a lot of that. And at the same time, the temp
And then they have a commercial.
Right. Well, we didn't get any
not
commercials
on
on
there.
Thank goodness.
That's normally where it would be, though.
Yeah. So immediately the temp in the room starts to go up, so they think it's a great time to leave Aaron alone in the room, since it's already tried to kill somebody else.
Leave Zach alone in the room.
When is Zach going to get left alone in the room?
I don't know.
So Aaron immediately starts...
They don't want him.
So Aaron immediately starts feeling uncomfortable, and the temp goes up. He gets a message on the Ovilus that says, "We're they. We are they."
What?
Yeah. And then he's like, "What?" And he jumps across the room, and then he falls on the floor. He's like,
that's hilarious.
He looks like he's paralyzed. He looks super disoriented and in distress. Meanwhile...
And
then he gets back up and he freaks out and he runs out of the room. And then he goes downstairs out of the house. They show the whole film of him running. And then he runs out into the staging, into the staging area. God. And then he's like in the room where they're like watching the cameras. And Zach, who's watching the cameras, reaches behind him and kind of like taps his knee. And he's like, "Are you okay, bud?" While he's sitting there like,
oh my
like
God.
He was obviously in distress. So anyways, he explains it as explains this whole thing, and then he felt like anyways. He explains how he felt like he was blacking out, and when he comes to, he sees a man with half a face wearing a hat standing over him.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So then they go back up.
The Phantom of the Opera was there?
Yeah. Well, apparently the Phantom of the Opera in this episode was Zach, but
yeah.
And they link it to a picture that got taken when they first come in the house, and it was and then it accidentally came out as only half a picture of Zach wearing his hat.
Oh, for Pete's sakes. It's always about Zach. It's not. Listen, shit really isn't that serious. It's not that complicated either. So but he's making a lot of money off his show, so.
Yes, he is.
Really?
I mean, I think the EVPs and all that stuff is all pretty straightforward. I just think that the rest of it is hype.
Yeah.
I think some of what
that's why I like watching those YouTubers, because most of the time it's just them freaking themselves out and really getting unedited, wholesome shit.
Right.
And they get freaked out by it. It's funny. And it's good.
Yeah, it's true. Because
it's not tainted by the stuff that Zach is doing.
And I think Aaron, I think that's why they throw Aaron into these situations, because I think Aaron's a little sensitive, but also a little overdramatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go, ah. Anyways, you just have to watch the episode.
Okay.
You have to watch the episode.
Oh my God.
You guys have to watch the episode. It was like $2.99 on Prime.
What episode is it?
It's the first episode 1 of their serial killers. I think there's like 4 or 5 of that series. Yeah, and it was like October of last year that they recorded
it's
that,
new.
so it's pretty recent. So anyways, they go back up. This time they do an EVP sesh, and this time they're using the SLS camera, which is the one that captures
the stick figures.
The stick figures.
Yeah. I like that thing.
I know. And this time, there's a spirit present. They capture 3 figures and at the same time, they get electromagnetic spikes. Then the figures start disappearing one by one.
Huh.
And so they link this to the soldier demons, whatever. The soldier, okay.
Whatever referred to itself as they.
Whatever they is.
Okay, well, don't get that confused with my they when I say they. Disclaimer.
Yeah. So at the same time they're getting all this, they get the electromagnetic spikes, and then the figures disappear one by one, and when the last figure disappears, the electromagnetic spikes just completely disappear as well. But at the very same time, the cameras all go dead.
Oh, that'd be freaky.
And then they show the guys down in their little home base area outside of the house.
Did they all go,
the cameras?
Oh, all at the same time?
No, but they look surprised because the cameras all went black.
They didn't get overly dramatic about that. They were kind of like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, that's crazy.
The cameras all just went black one by one. So
that would freak my shit out.
So they get some weird pictures of orbs one coming out of the furnace area. So up in the attic, it was like a little, remember like that one that we got from the shop?
Yes.
But it wasn't as bright. It was like a little tiny one that came out. So there's like this metal grate that's kind of like over what might have been a hole, and it was probably the old furnace that came from down in the basement all the way up to the attic. So but they've covered it up now with a metal grate. So anyways, out of this, and they were getting like the heat signatures coming out of that area as well. But yeah, they get a little orb that they filmed, a little orb coming out of there, which is obviously like one of those little light anomalies. And then another one in the stairwell, which they took with it almost looked like a, I can't even think of the name of it. It was a Polaroid, like a Polaroid. And so when they enlarge it, it looks like, so there's the orb. The picture inside the orb looks like a photograph.
Oh, wait, that's cool.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
It actually kind of looked like an old photograph.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of awesome.
So that was pretty much that. That was pretty much the gist of what they got in that house.
Yeah,
so.
and that when that one orb did come out, I don't know. To me, it looked kind of weird because it had an unusual shape compared to what most orbs are. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like to me, it looked almost kind of like a long, skinny base, and then it kind of mushroomed out on the top.
Oh, I meant to ask you if it looked wormy.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to learn a little more about these wormy, snake-like energies that people. I'll show you that.
It was like an elongated. It was more ovally. It was more of an oval. I want to say it wasn't, but I think I know what you're talking about because I think you've showed me some pictures.
Well, because there's some that people. I mean, listen, they're all pretty fantastic. Like my goddaughter gave me some, and I'm pretty sure they're negative energy.
Negative for COVID?
Yeah. Yeah. Like that. And now I can't find them. Anyway, I haven't told her that, but that's what I think they are. Especially when somebody is so excited or like is so happy about something. I don't want to take it away from them, but especially if I'm not sure.
Right.
You got some good stuff on yours. I didn't think
so?
you were going. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought I was going to find more. But I mean, like if I hadn't like delved into this whole ghost adventures thing, like
one of the other things we didn't even discuss either was that on that one that we watched, they discussed about, I guess, some of the strange occurrences that happened to some of the people
all the mysterious deaths that happened after he died,
prosecution and things of that nature.
After he was executed.
That's right, because that's why they wanted to. That's why they thought maybe he was still alive and faked his own death.
Yeah.
Maybe it was his angry ghost.
Yeah, because it was really weird. Some of the stories, like one guy freaking accidentally somehow set himself on fire, and what was the other ones? There was just a lot of unusual stuff. The judge died. Yeah, there's just like a lot of like stuff that doesn't not typical. Judge.
Everybody involved with his case, basically, and the reason they all died.
Yeah, which is really weird.
With weird circumstances.
Yeah.
So if he didn't fake his own death,
I mean, there's still a possibility. The skeleton remains that they found in the grave. They said he's 5'7" and he was small framed, but the skeletal remains were like of somebody who was like 5'4" or 5'5".
But didn't they DNA it?
Yeah, but then they did do DNA on it, and it came up that it was him.
Maybe they found a Mudgett
it was the dental.
Be
it was the dental records.
Proxy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's sick enough. He could have gotten a family member.
Anyways. Crazy. This whole story was crazy all the way around.
Yeah.
Because we did the whole deep dive into it, and I know you did.
Yeah, I mean, that was a long ass and there's still more. Yeah. There's like so much. We could probably go on another hour talking about it.
Yeah. There's still way more involved to this guy. He's a very, very unusual human being, to say the least.
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that he used the whole gas thing.
Gassing people.
Well, the fact that he created actual torture
that
chamber.
whole third floor.
And a whole floor
and
of
then
a building.
Planned a whole chute that went all the way down to the basement. And it would have had to go past, because he did have shops. He built shops on the first floor, right?
Exactly.
That he rented out.
Yeah.
So it would have had to go past those. So he was pretty calculated.
He was. And he didn't care if it was a kid, a man,
That's usually
a
the
woman.
case with most sociopaths. They are
But
very
this is super
calculating.
elaborate for, like, of all the serial
Especially
killers
back
of all the serial killers, like,
This guy was
like he built a whole building dedicated to his,
to kill.
right.
Yeah.
We haven't had anybody like that.
No. I mean, he's pretty much like, if
And,
I had to,
and you said the second one in Texas,
Right.
that he was building another one.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
the
he
whole
is.
horse thief thing came
Oh, yeah,
into
the horse
play,
thing.
and that's why he ended up leaving.
Yeah.
What happened
When
with
he
the
did.
horse
So
thing?
essentially, he stole horses while he was there in Texas,
And got
then
chased
turned
out of
around
town.
and sold them in St. Louis, and then he got, as a result of that, he got chased out of town. But it eventually caught up with him because they then came looking for him from that warrant, and that's when they arrested him.
Oh, that just made me jump. See, we don't usually have stories that make me jump like that.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
creepy.
That was a good one.
Good story. Are you
Oh, but I will say, my security camera is wigging out. Yeah, look,
Tonight?
it's facing the wall.
Why is it facing the wall? Did Shadow push it?
Shadow knocked it
No,
over.
she can't get to it.
Okay,
Where's it
that's
at?
bizarre.
It's up on top of my. You know how you guys have your entertainment
Yeah.
shelves? It's way up there.
So
She
now
can't
it
get up
just
there.
got pushed to
And
face
it's
the
like,
wall.
so now
somehow
where
I got twisted.
it should only be panning like that, it's completely facing my wall.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, and here's the weird thing. When I was looking at the other things, it's almost like it just kept replaying the same thing. And because it kept, every one of these, I deleted like 5 of them. It's Shadow walking this way, then it'd be her walking, then it'd be her walking. Like every single one was the exact same video.
That's
now
bizarre.
all these are coming out. But they look like the exact same video.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird?
That is
And I already
really weird.
deleted like 5 or 6 of that very same thing. And it's like, oh, that's weird. And now we're facing the wall.
Somebody didn't want you looking at them.
Isn't that crazy?
That is creepy.
It does.
And now it's like, all right, she's watching, so I'm going to fuck with her.
Hey, I'm so happy that you said that because I have to go home by myself.
Hey guys, I think we're
Peace out. Bye. Shut up.
All right, so this is where the edit begins.
No.
All right, so that
I
pretty
think
much.
we've come to the end of our episode.
Finally.
So, anyways,
Super excited.
if you guys want to help us out a little bit, support us on Patreon. If you guys want to check us out on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter, we are out there as well. And we also have a website where you can see a lot of like the pictures and a lot of the links. That is tipsy-tales.com. And we also have an email address if you want to send us.
I don't know.
She's like, I don't remember. tipsytalespodcast.com. If you guys want to send us any of your own personal stories that you want us to share, we'd love to share them and give you credit.
If you have any stories you want us to look into,
Yep.
we'd like that.
We love it. We love it a lot. And also, if you guys want to contact Carlene, you can contact her at
1-800-HOT-MAMA. At, should I give Facebook or Yahoo? We'll do Facebook. You can get me at Psychic Medium Carlene Higgins. That's on Facebook.
and then your email address.
Carlene.spirit
All right.
at
yahoo.com. Isn't that it?
Carlene.spirit at yahoo.com.
I memorized it.
You're way better than I am.
Wow. I can't even remember our own email address.
I can't remember any of it.
Oh, I'm like, I can't believe I remember anything right now.
The wine's starting to give me a headache, so I
Thank you, Albert, for joining us tonight and tolerating us for 3 whole hours.
I appreciate it.
He sat here the whole time.
Hopefully I was able to add and rather than subtract from the discussion.
He stood up at one point.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate it.
He got a little antsy there for a second. Like, all right,
but
guys.
for the most part, he hung with us.
Yeah, he did.
This is probably the longest period of time that my wife was able to tolerate hearing from me.
Stop. That's hilarious.
I'm just kidding.
You
hilarious.
Know, I love you. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. I'm Alma.
I'm Carlene.
And I'm Albert.
Good night, you guys. Thanks.
Good night.
Have a good night, Podlanders.